the suppression of the use of marijuana and of the forces lurking behind it are the most important jobs this department is now engaged in. In 1930, the records on marijuana in the Washington office of the Narcotics Division scarcely filled a small folder like this. Today, they fill cabinets.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Coloradians and everyone that's smart enough to listen from the outside.
It's one of the most amazing plants we've ever discovered.
The pot party, the trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another week of Stoned Appetit. With your host, as always, it's me, Kip. To the left, I got old CB. How are you, CB?
I'm doing great now that the winds died down a little bit, but holy fuck, your local weather guy. The wind was awful this weekend. It would have been a beautiful weekend without that wind.
Dude, so I had family in town, and we'll dive into a little bit more about that, but they were like, Jesus Christ, is this like a regular occurrence? No, that shit was a bear. We've got a couple branches hanging on some power lines outside our house that just look precarious, but thank God Xcel didn't turn my power off, so at least that's a slight bonus for those that just regained power in Boulder, charged their phones, and are listening to our podcast. I mean, Xcel has the worst them and my neighbor Felix may have the same damage control policies.
And
because they burned so many fucking bridges on social media this weekend, especially shout out to those that are on oxygen. They're like, you should have a better backup plan in place. Be like, bitch, you turned off our fucking power for 2 days. Like, what the fuck? Oh my God, that wind was a bear.
Also, another person that's up there in that category now back into that category is David Chang.
Jesus Christ, yeah. If you have chili crunch on your menu, tread lightly. Also, shout out to Lauren Boebert, who apparently got so drunk, she got escorted out of Trump's most recent fundraiser for rich dickheads, which you didn't think, you thought that would just be the status quo for her. We've got a great episode for y'all today. I'm glad CB gave us our weather report. Let's check in with Queen Eve on the ones and twos. What you up to, sister?
I actually did a thing yesterday, but I don't know if I'll have time to talk about
Ooh,
it.
what was the thing?
We'll start with that. No, when you do something, it's headline news. What'd you do?
I went to the Grizzly Rose and did some line dancing.
Oh, shit.
Did you wear your finest flannel?
I didn't. I wore a button up. That was like my...
Pearl snap?
Did you have a crew or did you go solo?
I went with some people. It was okay.
Did you get a bucket of beer?
No, I didn't. I didn't
Rosé?
order any drinks.
Wine just okay. Was it because you were worried about getting roofied?
No, because I was like, I'm not drinking. It's just, I think my expectations didn't meet reality. I think I was mixing it up with like square dancing because you can go there early and they'll do like a little class, but they only teach you one dance. The instructor, I thought he'd stand up on the stage, but he just stands in the crowd of people, so you can't really see him to see the moves, but he explains it enough, and there's enough people around, you just kind of like look at your person in front of you.
Yeah.
But they only teach you the one dance and not like moves for other things, and then they're like, okay, listen for this song when we play it. So then they play the one song later when everyone's dancing, and that's all you can dance to. But I guess line dancing is just, you just look at whoever's leading and knows what they're doing, and everyone just kind of copies them. So everyone's just kind of like a mess, which is like fun, I guess. But, like, there's no lines. It's not line dancing. It's clump dancing. Like, the floor, if you're, like, a line dancing, like, purist or something, like, you're going to be bummed if you go there, in my opinion, because the dance floor was kind of a mess.
So
People didn't stay in lines.
Sunday fun day, no less. It was just chaos.
It was fucking family day, too, or whatever.
Gross.
Kids can be there. Yeah, like, teenagers who are, like, really into line dancing. But the space inside is, like, it's pretty huge, so that was cool.
Yeah, it is.
But... I don't know. I also thought they would like call out moves during line dancing. During the songs, I thought they'd at least be like left, right, for everyone, but they don't. It's just like, hope you know the moves to this song, because there are people who are definitely regulars there. You know what I mean? So you literally just go on the dance floor and you just search for someone who knows what they're doing, and then you copy them, and then someone copies you. And but it's like a cluster. Like it wasn't. I don't know. Like I wouldn't do it again. It was fine.
It's kind of like saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Like if you're not in a crowd, you're gonna mess it up. But would have watched...
The Pledge of Allegiance is pretty, like... That one should be...
You can hammer that down?
I mean, I probably could, yeah. I think the national anthem may be what you're looking for. It's like, Rampart... yeah. But at the same time, that is interesting. I saw Colfax things mention that they have line dancing classes on, like, certain days up there.
Yeah.
I'm glad you went in there and got a little...
It's just they teach you one dance.
Is it free?
That's it. It's $10 cover.
$10 cover, but
Yeah, it's not extra.
What's
for
the
the
name of the
class.
dance?
I don't fucking
The
know.
song-
I don't know if he named it.
I wonder if it's like Boot Scoot and Boogie by our friends at Brooks and Dunn.
I don't even know.
It's gotta
But
be a
it
90s
was like
jam.
45 minutes just for the one dance.
You could probably watch some like dances on YouTube, practice, and then go
Sure,
back
but
for
I
it.
guess they match with the song. Like I guess there's dances that go with the song. And they don't shout anything out. They don't go, "Oh, this is like the two-step. Do it." Like it's just like here's the song playing and you just dance.
You
But
gave
I
it a
thought there'd
shot,
be more.
though.
I did.
Way to get out
I
of your
thought there'd
comfort
be
zone
more
and do
guidance.
something cool.
Yeah, but it was kind of like, oh, I know I was a little let down. But I also think my expectations were like mixed up with like square dancing and
You were
all that
thinking of
stuff.
Coyote Ugly, and you're like, when are we getting on the bar top? I've been there before. I get
Yeah.
it completely.
Yeah,
The bull riding is a hoot and a holler as well. I think
They
that's the
did have
proper
bull
term
riding
for it.
there.
Yeah.
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 Well, I mean, this episode's going to be a hoot and a holler, y'all. We have some news we'll talk about at the beginning. We have March Madness. The Masters tourney starts Thursday, but our Masters tourney starts today at the local drive. Shout out to our friends at the local drive on Brighton and our friends at Par Hopper. We're going to recap last week from opening day to best things we ate. And before we get out of here, we've got some news about next week. So it's going to be a great one. Don't forget that as you listen to this, you are in the final week of tax season 2023. If you haven't filed, if you're coming down to the deadline, reach out to our friends at Seed Money Consulting. We've spoken with restaurateurs, small business owners that literally in the last week had calls with Sam, Shahab, and the fam over there at Seed Money and have gotten their ducks in a row, not only to get 2023 taken care of, whether it's an extension or trying to beat the deadline, or maybe you've already filed for 2023, you left money on the table, or you just fucking hate the government and you want to make sure you don't do it twice. They are here to help. They prioritize small to medium-sized businesses. They've worked with folks in the hospitality space, the cannabis space, whether you may be a traveling 1099, whether you do content creation, whatever it may be, they know all the nooks and crannies for how to make sure that you don't screw yourself over and to make sure that you're not giving interest-free loans away. You can Google them, Seed Money Consulting, but if you don't have the Google, just press that button above you and Tommy will come back there with a tack hammer and take care of it. That's a Tommy Boy quote for those that don't get it, but we've got a great episode and it's all sponsored by Seed Money Consulting. So thank y'all again for sponsoring the pod. Thank y'all for taking care of our finances. We appreciate y'all mightily. The first order of business is something a little bit more serious than it is fun or like playful or whimsical. A gentleman by the name of Spencer Curson, who was not only a friend of ours, but also a believer in this podcast, someone that hired us 3 years ago when not a lot of folks would or didn't maybe see what our path or our future was. He was the original founder of the Standing Akimbo Dispensary. He sadly passed away from health complications last Wednesday. We're not here to break news. We tried to take some time off on Friday and Saturday from social media just to kind of be present in the moment. Think of our dear friend and the family. His dad was a hoot and a holler. We're going to miss him absolutely mightily. It breaks my heart. I'm going to probably end up crying doing this, but he was a believer. He was a listener. He was a follower. He always reached out to others when, maybe they were expressing, just tough times. He was one that would always shoot you a message and be like, hey man, everything okay? Anything I can do to help? And so while we were able to keep in contact with him after he left the Standing Akimbo operations side last year, as a friend and things of that nature, even ask questions about the industry and the community, it just hurts our heart to let everybody know that didn't know. And I imagine everybody in the cannabis industry did know, but for those that have been maybe regular patrons of Standing Akimbo or love them for the pack pushing process, that was all Spencer. He was a dear friend and we're going to miss him dearly. And we just want to send out our love and light to all those that knew Spencer. And we're thinking of him, and he's with us every time we do an episode. He is quite literally the reason we get to do this, the reason we do it in a studio instead of in Chris's basement, the reason Eve is with us. It's all because of Spencer. And so I mean, it just fucking sucks. It just sucks. Y'all probably, if you've ever attended our parties, he was oftentimes a representative there. If y'all did our movie nights, he was the reason you had such great products available to you. He was a good person to us, you know, and obviously there's always those that maybe didn't love him or whatever, but here on this podcast we did, and we're going to miss him mightily. And so we wanted to dedicate not only this episode, but this whole month. You know, he was an advocate for the industry. He was one of the OGs. I think he had the last edible license that came under the cheese licensing from the early mid 2000s in the medicinal world. So he was a mover and shaker in this space, and he will be, there's a big void in a lot of people's hearts, including this podcast and including mine. We miss you dearly, Spencer. I love you. And thank you for everything you always did for us, including instill confidence in the fact that we could make this into something more than just a hobby on a Tuesday and Thursday afternoon. So we love you dearly, and our heart goes out to everybody. Anything else?
I think you covered it. But yeah, I mean, all around great guy, and so many people in the community know him. So I'm sure a lot of people out there are thinking about him.
Yeah.
But yeah, fun guy.
But we don't want to make it a too terribly weighted down. He wouldn't want that either. He had a smile on his face through thick and thin. So we'll continue to do this podcast in the same vein. Chris, as people are listening to this, our March Madness finale is going down. But last time we all spoke was Final Four. Sapsua with a huge late comeback over Kike's. Goodness fucking gracious. Like, they've got a lot of support on both coasts, East and West, and we're seeing that in the finale today. But holy cow, they won it by 30 after being down 400 against Kike's on Thursday. I mean, shit. And then, of course, our returning champions, if y'all don't know, I mean, we've talked about Yuan Wonton many a times. Penelope Knockers, Caroline and the fam, they fucking slay it. And they're just duking it out in our Instagram stories. Thoughts? Are you surprised? Like, Funky Flame put up a hell of a fight. We were talking about how they rallied the community. They did it through fun, you know, aspects of content creation. Like, it was a great Final Four. I thought it was a great representation.
I swung into Funky Flame Saturday morning for the OG breakfast sandwich, and chatted with Allison for a bit, and like, yeah, I mean, she was like, I didn't know y'all were gonna do it back to back, like, you know, the Elite Eight the day and then the Final Four, and she was like, I wasn't prepared. She was like, I was tired. I needed, but I mean, like, they loved it and they had so much fun with it. But yeah, it's neat to see Jan Wonton and Sapsu in the final.
Yeah, and you know, we touched on it a little bit last week. Congratulations to Penelope she'll be punching her ticket to Chicago. No matter what happens this week, she will be in Chicago for the Beard final announcements and award ceremonies. So we're wishing her all the luck. Not only in, I guess it's later this month, or no, it's in May. It's in May, or early June. But either way, I mean, we've got a knock. It's going to be a bare knuckle brawl for the next couple hours that those are listening, and it started right out the gates. Sapsua's got some friends promoting it. Jan Wonton has a large following as well. I mean, you couldn't ask for better representation for the Denver community, because I feel, and maybe this podcast is a little biased, but our Asian food scene may be one of the best highlights of Colorado's food scene. That and our Mexican food are our top two, I feel, genres of dank eats in Colorado. Whether, you know, Penelope came from food truck, you know, and before that she was at a country club. And then Sapsua was doing pop-ups before they had a brick and mortar. And so it kind of shows that, you know, you can reach a community and grow that, and then it grows to larger and larger aspects. I mean, I think these are great representatives for the Denver food scene. And I can't wait to see who is crowned the champ and the belt is in their name.
Yeah, Sapsua's got all that LA love too. I think they're pretty big, well known in the Los Angeles region.
I've seen a couple of those mentions and shares. It's going to be, but I mean, at the same time, it's been that way the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, like, the food community is not just Colorado's community, and maybe it is for some, and that's how they've grown their reach, and that's great because those are the people that will be there regularly. But yeah, it's awesome, and I mean that's how Caroline Glover, a couple of years ago did the same. Penelope and Jan Wantan last year rallied the community both here and across the region. And so if Sapsua does it this time, I wouldn't be surprised. Jeremy mentioned the new kind of buzzworthy restaurant. We talked about them being in Washington Post, the USA Today, New York Times, and things of that nature. Like, we could not be prouder to call either of these two restaurants champions at the end of today. It's going to be awesome. I
Yeah.
can't fucking wait. Speaking of things I can't fucking wait, it's Masters Week. For those that don't know, every spring and summer, I just dive deep into golf, and it starts roughly around the Masters. It's the greatest event on earth. I cried when Tiger won it in 19. I cried when I visited in 2015 when Danny Willett stole that from Jordan Spieth. What a fucking cunt. But at the same time, we're hosting our own little party for Masters Week at the local drive down on Brighton Boulevard with our friends, the local drive, and Par Hopper, with gift bags loaded to the gills from Binsk, aka kick-ass cartridges. They have a litany of them you can find across the metro, including at our friends like Starbuds, Emerald Fields. You can find them at Den Rec and the dispensary, all of those locations. And also our friends from Medically Correct, which is Nove and Incredibles. Great edibles that you can find the best chocolate bars on the shelves, as well as award-winning high-end edibles like the Nove Bliss line, which is a vegan rosin gummy with just a clean buzz. And so every golfer gets that. You can still sign up, I think, I say that very loosely, but if you're a golfer and you're like, fuck it, I got Thursday afternoon, I'll sign up for a 2-man scramble. You also get complimentary cocktails while you play, and our friends from Bird Call are paying for your lunch. So usually, I love a good glizzy. I'd fucking double fist those things. Oh, but they don't have food at the local drive. So Bird Call's like, don't worry, we'll take care of this. So every gift bag has a gift card. You can either use it for DoorDash if you want it delivered to the bar, or you can just scoop it at their 5 Points location, literally a stone's throw up the road. So all week I'm going to be at the local drive just swinging and catching a fade. I can't fucking wait. It's going to be awesome. But enough about this week. Let's talk a little bit about last week. Rockies opening day. Man, this team sucks. They won on opening day on a walk-off. The party downtown was a vibe. It's a fucking vibe. But the fucking team sucks so bad that it would be 10 times cooler if there was actual enthusiasm around a club that could at least be competitive on a day in and day out basis. But at the same time, our friends at like La Diabla, Blanchard Family Wine, who are doing the wine walk this weekend, like they're all, and then Ice House, stop in for a pickle shot, a couple cocktails, things like that. It was a fucking vibe. I wanted to know, what did y'all do last week? Chris, did you do anything worth a damn?
I did a little spring ski sesh Friday afternoon, which was nice. It was gorgeous up there.
You.
So that was fun.
Mud season.
Yeah, it was fun. And then Saturday I went galaing. I went to a gala, the Denver Health Foundation.
Okay.
So I mean,
You're like a test subject. They're like, look at this. How many viruses can live in one human and still survive?
so there's a big auction. But anyways,
Wait, what's a big auction? Like multiple items, or like people throwing $5K on a bid? Little combo platter?
there were multiple items, and then people were throwing like 10K
Oh fuck.
and more.
Jesus, really?
Yeah, but no, food just mid as fuck. I mean, just awful. I remember Steph and I got there, and we went and got a drink, and it was hard to tell where the bars were, because when we were walking away, this couple stopped us, and they were like, "Hey, where'd you get those drinks?" And this guy, I was like, "Oh yeah, it's like actually right over there." And his wife was like, "Jesus Christ, that's like the first thing we ask people when we come here." And I was like, "Yeah, it's free booze. You're good." But they had these mini arepas, and then these fried chili cheese, like green chili cheese mac kind of lollipop things. It was like a
Cake bite with a fried mac and cheese ball
Yeah.
on top with green chili in the middle.
yeah.
Man, you just butchered that explanation, but now I know what we're talking about. A
Okay.
good lollipop.
Anyways, they were awful. So that shit just was dry as all can get out. But anyways, and then for dinner we had a beef short rib. But it was odd because, and that was awful. But it was odd because they had this, like when you got to your table, they had like a parfait cup, and it was like stuffed with salad. And they just had like mozzarella balls, and that was sitting there. And then they had dessert cakes sitting on the table. Like they were already just sitting there. It was very bizarre.
Like right at the beginning of the meal.
Yes.
The dessert was already out.
Yes, before we had our.
And who puts a salad in a tall ass glass?
I don't know.
The fuck?
Yeah.
Do you know who sponsored the food?
It was at the Hyatt Regency, so I
So, the hotel
Yeah.
did it. Ooh.
But anyways, the event was great, and like they raised a ton of money. But yeah, don't go there. Don't go to anything like that for the food. Yeah.
But what a bummer. You go there expecting something kind of like fancy and.
Well, it doesn't have to be
Fulfilling.
fancy, and you
Well,
kind of
like-
realize that, like, okay, they're
But a charity dinner where people are dropping $10K, honestly, I'd be kind of pissed. I would if I was ready to drop money and I got this like glass full of
with
salad.
mozzarella balls.
And how was the dessert? What was that?
I didn't try it.
It just looked like shit. So you're
I
like, no.
just passed.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
and the
what
bread,
the fuck?
but the one thing that I was hoping was there was like a bread basket, and I was like, oh, please
Ooh.
have some good rolls.
Yeah.
No, awful.
That kind doesn't surprise me.
I feel like it's very like you're gonna get a one that could probably put a hole in this wall. Like you're like, this thing's cement. Or you get like, oh, we got someone that knows what they're doing back there. There is no in between.
But the one thing I love about it though is I wish they would have had a better roll, because they have those little butter balls on the, and those are just fun.
Anything that comes at room temperature and butter, like when it comes out too cold, I'm like, what are we doing here, guys? Y'all don't even care about the bread program.
Oh, and yesterday I checked out a food truck.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Is it for this Friday?
No, it's going to be in a couple Fridays.
Well, then
I've
give
got-
us a little teaser. Name of the place, was it good?
It's called Flippin' Birds, and it's and it's Hawaiian style food truck.
Ooh, did you get a masubi?
No, was it Lamo? I forget the exact name
The
of it.
Loco Moto that has
Yeah,
the beef
like with
patty
the rice,
gravy
beef patty,
and the egg.
Yeah, and it was spot on. And then I had some
Loco, is that what it is?
grilled short ribs,
Loco Moco.
some like grilled short ribs over some rice, and that shit was fire. It was a really damn good truck.
Yeah, I love a good Loco Moco because it kind of obviously it's got nothing to do with the Southeast, but this is a podcast about me, so I'll talk about that.
Country
It reminds
fried steak or
a
something?
a Salisbury steak.
Yeah.
Yeah, but always a masubi, and I think if I had to say the best masubi that I've had comes from Ohana, right there off the clusterfuck 5-way.
Yeah.
But every now and then you find a Hawaiian food and you're like, fuck, this is slap. So, Flippin' Birds.
Yeah.
All right, hell yeah. I look forward to the article. I feel like you've been slaying it in the Westward game.
I try to find a lot of food trucks.
You're
I think I've covered quite a bit. It's going to start getting real difficult, which is why I always love when people send in recommendations.
If you have a food truck and you're listening to this podcast, reach out to us on social media, and I will forward all of the messages to Chris, and he will come eat at your snack spots. I like it. All right, so I had family in town last week. I'm not sure if I teased that on Thursday. No one remembers Thursday, but for obvious reasons. This is what we did, and it's also going to pose a question that I also asked the community. Best things we ate. I took them to King of Wings in Golden to show them like the community out there. The sister's boyfriend had never been to Colorado, so he was just loving like the mountain vibe and everything. He was like, holy fuck, they're like right here? And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, y'all gotta try these chicken wings. The XXX Hot gave the old second kiss on the way out. Really wrecked some stomachs. But at the same time, fantastic. You know what stole the show? Mac Fam. Last time I took family to Yan Wonton. Yeah. This time I took them to Mac Fam for a lunch sesh, because it's casual. We weren't trying to go deep into the pocket. It's very approachable. Like 2 people can eat for $40 or so and less, so depending on how hungry you are. I know I sucked the dick last week, but that Zhang Bin sandwich is immaculate.
Oh, the scallion cakey one?
The scout, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
great. It's fucking delicious. We also hit up my boy Tony for daiquiris.
I like
just
that
casual.
spot.
It's a hip little spot. Like if you twist your handlebar mustache up, that's the spot for you. If you twist it down, reach out to Eve. She'll send you to the proper bar. It's the Grizzly Rose or the Gin Mill or something of that nature. But my boy Tony, it's hipster as the day is young. But for First Friday, it had a killer vibe in there. Saw some friends, met up with a few. It was a delicious slurping. And then in the midst of the windy sesh, speaking of just power going out all over the fucking place, but the Crowbar, which is a local dive, maybe a half a mile from our house, was ready to rock. We just sat there and pounded $3 shots for a couple hours, hit a couple photo booths, and called it a day. Those were the best things I ate and drank last week, and I just want to give an ode to those folks. But the question I have for you, and Chris, I've asked you this before, but I think Eve would appreciate this for when her parents come out to be on the podcast. When you have family in town, whether you're looking to do wholesome things, but we're not hikers or skiers or golfers, what are the best things to do with a family? And my sister had done Meow Wolf before, so this time we did the Museum of Nature and Science, Eat a Little Boomers, shout out to Cosmic Bars, mild in the small, macro in the micro and macro, as you well know, Chris. But that's a cool fucking place. We didn't do the Orca show because it was an extra ticket, but we caught the Wild in Color.
The wild color? That's pretty rad.
The Egyptian exhibit, which shows you mummies, prehistoric. But the views on the fourth floor from the terrace, you could sit out there. You're not supposed to smoke, but you can. No one's up there to police. Maybe some fucking Karen if she has her kids. But otherwise, the Museum of Nature and Science is a fucking vibe for wholesome family activities, whether or not you eat hallucinogens. What are some other ones that we should float out there for anybody that has family coming in for spring or summer?
I think going to Golden's a great one when your family comes in because it's fun. You can walk around, grab a bite to eat somewhere, but it's like it's not far away, and Coors is right there. You know, like
So you have to have you have to buy passes for Coors, and then
Yeah.
you have to park in a bus lot. So it's almost like a full dedication, whether you're doing the short tour or the long one, which I don't even know if they still do both or if they just do whatever it may
Right.
be. But especially for folks that are coming from the South, it's like, I remember when my brother came out to visit in 2011, he was like, I just want an ice cold Coors from the fucking Golden River, you know, like that hadn't been sitting on a truck for 3 weeks. So we made sure to get those fixed when we were out in Golden. But yeah, that's an easy one. I wanted to think of some other ones that I thought would be good ideas. And obviously Boulder's pretty, and you can make that drive over, and once you kind of come into, you know, over the hill, you see the school and you see the Flatirons. I think that's an ace up the sleeve that folks would oftentimes not think of. But another one that is the zoo. If you like animals confined,
Yeah, I'm anti-zoo, so I'm
I am
not
too,
gonna.
but I mean, like
No.
we've done like the zoo in the past, but like botanical gardens.
yeah,
is
that's a good one.
What are some other ones or some spots that you're like, oh, y'all should check out this?
I mean, if they aren't in town for a concert, then I mean, you can still take them out to Red Rocks just to see.
We did that too.
Yeah.
That's a great call. I forgot about that. It was windy as fuck up there. People are still doing yoga.
And I mean, if you do have family coming in for an extended amount of time, this might be a really good time to go down to Colorado Springs because you can go to the Garden of the Gods. You can do the Seven Falls, isn't that around there?
As a non-hiker, I'll take your word for it. I don't know.
No, but that's not something you can. I mean, that's something you can like drive
Yeah,
to.
Garden of
and
the
then you
Gods
can-
isn't really a hike, isn't all flat?
No,
Or am
you
I
can
totally
drive
wrong?
through Garden
You can drive
of the
through
Gods.
and also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I kind of leave all of my hobbies to like, oh, do they have good cocktails?
but there's some good food down there.
Yeah. And there's a standing akimbo as well. So if you have to shop, you can definitely hit it up. Okay, so we got a couple ideas, wholesome activities, and they also play well with legal hallucinogens. So good call. Before we get out of here, last couple things. Chris, Wednesday is,
Pint Day.
give us the deets.
Support your local Colorado breweries. I believe if you just search Pint Day, you'll see all the breweries that are participating, and then you can get like the memorable glass or whatever with a purchase.
Give me 3 breweries that you would hit for Pint Day.
Our mutual friend,
I
Joyride.
took them to our mutual friend this weekend too. Rhino is a fun walkthrough for those that don't have
Yeah.
family with a lot of tagging on walls where they come from.
And our mutual friend, you can pick up a barbecue sandwich or something next door.
Pit Fiend had pork belly, or no, excuse me, burnt ends, Kansas City burnt ends as their special last week. That's a good call. OMF.
Yeah, OMF, Joyride, and then maybe I mean
Cerebral?
The Cerebral, yeah, all the time. That's a good one, and they'll be participating. But like on this side of town, that Odell Sloan's Lake is nice. You got a nice view of the lake, and if it's going to be a nice day, it's a good one to hit up.
I like it. I like it. We lean on. You're our beer aficionado. You're our weatherman and the beer guy, and that's about it. I think
That's
that,
rude.
Sorry, I think that just about wraps up today's episode. We did quick, fast, in a hurry, although we're not. Don't forget, next weekend, next Saturday, is 420. We have Mile High 420 Festival with Gucci Mane downtown. Grasslands is hosting a movie party at 420 on 420. You can buy tickets, go over their website, mygrasslands.com. Fresh Off the Press by Groovy Gravy, our buddy that does, if you want to go get more intimate knowledge about pressing wax, or you just want to be able to enjoy some quality cuisine and some fresh hash, that's the way to do it. Hash, yeah. Rockies are having a home game against Seattle a few years ago. Chris and I did 420, and we went to a baseball game first. We puffed tough at the game, and it's just a hoot and a holler. And then you can kind of enjoy people watching of the people that get marijuana tattoos, that like big ones on their face. That's a crowd you'll see downtown. We had a blast at that. I thoroughly recommend, if you have nothing else to do after the concert, grab tickets to the Rockies game at 6. But if you are looking for something fun to do that's not sports related, I think Wiz Khalifa for the 420 show on the Rocks. Red Rocks on 420 is just like, you got to do it at least once. I think I've done it a few times. They've had different bands every time, or performers or artists, musicians, whatever you want to call it. Wiz Khalifa is the one this year, so check it out at Red Rocks. Tickets are still available. Anything we missed this week, Eve? Did we talk about Xcel enough? Shitting the bed all over Boulder County and just leaving people without power for 2 days?
I mean,
That's a total fuck up. I mean, I know they did it because of the Marshall fire, but it was a total fuck up.
Well, yeah, and you should have, you got to have a clear kind of
plan in place.
Yeah, and just communicate.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Bianchi, easily the most entertaining weatherman, knew for a week that, hey, it's going to be a bitch on Saturday. So if Xcel is planning to do this, due to the fact of, the Marshall fire situation, we need to start weighing a lot of the options, because moisture and dew point level are a little different. Higher elevations had snow still, but just to cut their fucking power off and not to tell them until day of, I was like, Jesus fuck, y'all are fucking idiots. I mean, sorry for all the language, but
especially
that
on a
is
weekend,
a total blunder.
On a weekend with all those restaurants, with all the food, I mean, you're doing more on the weekend, so there's more to lose.
Yeah, and your coworkers over at the Westward wrote an article about how restaurants had to pivot and what they did to save the meats that were going to be gone after 36 hours in something that's no longer frozen or cold. Man, this episode was dedicated to the fuck faces over at Xcel. Y'all just totally shit the bed on that one. But at the same time, I mean, I get why they did it.
Yeah.
But they just went about it the whole wrong way. And then their damage control team on social mediums was just rough. So, well, I think that just about wraps it up. We have guests coming on Thursday, next Tuesday, next Thursday, because it is, in fact, holidays season. So we're excited to talk with friends from dispensaries, people that are event promoters, and product developers. We've got a little bit of everything for y'all over the next 3 episodes. Stay with us. We appreciate everyone that tuned in for the March Madness. Best of luck to Sapsua and Yan Wantan as we finish up March Madness. And again, thank you to all the restaurants and to our sponsors. Dialed In, Bar Green Ellingson, Quarterstone Reclaimed Wood, which is the reason we have this sexy studio, and they can make your house sexy as well. Starbuds and Mr. B's, as y'all know intimately through this podcast. We appreciate y'all mightily. And until next episode, stay high, stay hungry.
Georgia on my mind.
Yeah.
Cheers!
Yay!
That was a really good one. That was a good one.